Welcome to the Show Mission. 2 Men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Len, aka the Bat Tribble. Hello. And as always, I am joined on this lovely StreamYard by my partner.
Hey, this is Vincent Williams.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are continuing down that road to 300. What color is the road to 300? I was going to say the yellow brick road, but
the road is always black. I like that.
We're continuing down that black road to episode 300 of the Michaud Mission. And
yes,
tonight,
sir.
As we kick off 2022, we are here with Vincent's selection, Juice.
You got the juice now.
From 1992. Written and directed by Ernest Dickerson, starring Omar Epps, Jermaine Hopkins, Khalil Kain, and one Tupac Shakur.
Introducing Tupac
Shakur. Tonight here on the Michaud Mission, as we are streaming live into Facebook and YouTube, where everyone in the Facebook group, all of our missionaries are out there saying hello, huzzah, hello to each and every one of you.
What's going on, folks? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. 2022.
Wow.
Isn't that insane?
That is insane. I just was watching an episode of Seinfeld where Kramer was preparing for the 2000.
Okay.
The year 2000, the millennium.
Right.
And I was like, wow, it was almost like yesterday. No, that was 22 years ago.
Look, you know what I always think? We're running out of science fiction years.
Really?
Like we're running out of science fiction years. I forget what year Judgment Day was, but Judgment Day has come and gone from Terminator. 2015 was Back to the Future. 2019 was my beloved Blade Runner.
Yes.
And you know what this year is?
This year is
2022.
So I don't know.
This is the Soylent Green year.
Oh, I would have never pulled
this is the Soylent Green year.
I never would have pulled
Yeah, so if somebody comes out with some new miraculous protein bar this year, don't eat it.
Yes, they're hitting me up in the chat and letting us know. Robert Monroe Jr., Sharon Eldridge, everyone is saying that there is this is the year of Soylent Green.
This is the Soylent Green year.
I've never read the book.
Yes.
I tried to watch the movie.
Yeah.
I couldn't stomach the movie.
I see what you did there. I love Soylent Green. I actually teach Soylent. I use it as a text. I love Soylent Green. I never read the book it's based on. Make Room, Make Room.
Oh, I don't know.
Is the name of the book by, I believe, Harry Harrison. But the movie added the spoiler for a 50-year-old movie, the cannibalism part. That's not in the book.
Okay.
But my running theory is that
the Charlton Heston science fiction tells you everything you need to know about the anxiety that middle-class white America was going through in the 70s.
Got you.
And Soylent Green really is about the corruption of institutions that we should be able to trust. The fear of a lack of morality because there's no church, there's no places of worship that people go to. Always the fear of feminism and what that's going to lead to. So it's actually a lot of interesting things in Soylent Green. Now, it's a little slow.
It's a slog of a movie.
It's a slog of a movie, but it's an interesting movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Soylent Green.
Well, very good.
I love Soylent Green of the Charlton Heston science fiction films. it is maybe the least watchable. Planet of
Yes.
the Apes, of course, would be the best.
Yes.
Omega Man is a lot of fun.
Omega Man is fun.
And then Soylent Green.
Isn't Charlton Heston also in the one with, maybe it's not him. Who's in the movie with O.J. Simpson where they fake?
Capricorn 1. That is a good question. I don't know who's in it with OJ.
I think Elliot Gould is the reporter, I think, and that's the name I'm pulling.
That is a good question. I can't remember who else is in Capricorn 1 with OJ.
Now I've got to look up Capricorn 1 because this is what we do here on this.
Right.
James Brolin. That's
James Brolin.
James Brolin, O.J. Simpson, and Sam Waterston. They are the astronauts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Before we get too deep into the show, I feel that
we've talked about 70s science fiction, so we're off and running.
But and while we are in your favorite year of the 70s, I feel it's only fair, even though the world has been, giving much due flowers
absolutely
to the passing of Betty White.
Yes,
over the past few days, as well as in the realm of sports, John Madden.
Yes,
but here on the Michelle Mission, we also lost a favorite here.
Yeah,
and that would be one Max Julian.
Yeah, we did.
He passed away at the age of 88.
Yeah.
I'm sure he wanted to see 89.
Sure.
But certainly a long and fruitful life. And as a devotee of everything 70s, I'm sure you want to share a few words about Max Julian.
The great thing about he was definitely a singular presence.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about him several times.
Yeah.
On this show, not only about Max Julian as an actor, he was in The Black Klansman. Remember, he has that moment in The Black Klansman. He's in Thomasina and Bushrod.
Right.
And he was also in Uptight.
Yes.
Remember, he was in Uptight. Mm-hmm. The irony is that what he's best known for as a performer, we've never talked about.
No, we haven't reviewed it
which
yet.
Would be The Mac.
Yeah.
But we also have talked about him as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote Cleopatra Jones.
Yep.
And he wrote Bushrod and Thomasina.
Yep.
So it's just a real, it's a loss.
It is a loss.
It's a loss. And since we're talking about losses, I don't think we mentioned bell hooks on here.
Oh, that's right.
Nor did we mention Greg Tate.
Greg Tate, yes.
Two of my heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Two of my, two people that I just sort of have read and taught. So it's a shame.
It is
a shame. And of course, Betty White and John Madden are losses.
Most definitely.
But as you said, that's been covered a lot of different places. So it's a shame.
It's a real shame.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone who has been piping up in the chat about a bit of an echo. I did a slight adjustment, so hopefully that is taking care of some of that echo that you were hearing.
Okay.
Let us go to the emails.
The first missives of 2022.
Yes. And we have one from Shanta Williams.
Hey, Shanta.
In regards to our review of This Christmas.
Okay.
Just before the Christmas break. This Christmas is almost like watching one of those Hallmark movies. So I agree with your take on it trying to be a soul food dupe. However, with some tweaks, it could be picture this.
Okay.
Switch Regina and Sharon's characters. Get rid of Lauren London's boyfriend and make her the back home from college sister with what it's like being on her own and dating out there, helping out now Regina's role on dating and finding a man.
Oh,
okay. Sharon can keep her role, keep the baby oil scene because it's a flip from cutting the meat to whooping behind. Get rid of Idris' debt trouble and make him the father figure of the family, which is why Loretta is afraid to let him know about her and Joe.
Okay.
Let Columbus bring the white girl home, because someone in the family always does. And let him hide his military status because he doesn't want to disappoint his family because he's had problems in the past. So I guess in regards to that, he is AOL.
Right. AWOL.
AWOL, right.
Yes.
Let Chris Brown have a secret music thing he does behind the family's back because they think he's going to college, and him and Lauren can have some moments talking about it. Hell, maybe she's dropped out and has been using that money to follow a different dream. If we want to keep all the actors, which I like all of them, by the way, we can. What would each of you have changed to make it better? Longtime fan Tay has spoken.
Yes. She wants an entirely different movie.
Yes.
Which I'm not against.
I'm not against that.
I'm not
either.
against. I have to say, much like we talked about, unfortunately, the main change I would make would be a cut. I don't think Delroy Lindo and Idris Elba need to be anywhere near this.
They don't need to be in this movie.
Because they really do bring an energy to it.
That it's totally different.
Right. Like I'm trying to drink eggnog.
Yes. I'm not looking over my shoulder.
Bourbon straight.
Yeah. No. See, like I'm fine with Delroy Lindo being in there.
Okay.
You know, because I can see Loretta Devine's character being attracted
Yes.
to Delroy Lindo. And even attracted to the mystery of him, because there's a mystery to this man. But again, I say, Idris Elba is of, and I love Regina King, but he's of a different species than everyone else in this movie.
And I'm going to push back on Delroy Lindo. And I love both of them. Have I seen funny Delroy Lindo? Because you know who I would actually switch him out with?
Not really. I'm trying to think of that.
Is Danny Glover. Because I think Danny Glover can be funny.
Yeah, but Danny Glover plays older, like really older.
I mean, he doesn't have to.
Yeah, Danny, he plays older.
He doesn't have to.
Delroy can get over because of the shaved head. He can play a little more because he probably is around the same age.
Right.
But he can play younger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Danny, like Danny would, like she's dating Pop. No. But to your point, have we seen funny Delroy? I don't think we've seen funny Delroy. I don't think we've seen funny Delroy. To be quiet as kept, has Idris been in the comedy?
I don't know if we've seen funny Idris Elba.
I don't know if he's ever been in the comedy.
I don't know how much joking these men do.
I don't know.
Like on screen.
No,
you know, they seem very personable when you read interviews.
Oh yeah, Idris Elba is saying he's a cut and a half.
But like, once they say action,
I don't know. That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Well, thank you. Well, that's what we would do.
Right.
Those are the changes that we would make. We also got an email from Terry Plain.
Hey, Terry.
Good day to be black and sexy.
All right.
Dear Len and Vince, on the road to 300, it would be awesome to consider reviewing Good Day to be Black and Sexy. This is a film featuring short stories highlighting relationships and sexuality in the lives of African Americans. This was such a refreshing, forward-thinking movie. I was so excited to see an honest reflection of my own discoveries with intimacy and sexual exploration. As a bonus, the soundtrack came straight out of my parents' 8-track and album collection. Vince, you would be well pleased with the music. My favorite was a segment featuring Patrice Rushen.
That's all right.
Wow. That's talk about a deep cut.
That's all right.
Hope to hear this review soon. Terry Plain.
That has been on my list, though. A Good Day to be Black and Sexy.
I feel like I've heard of this film, but I
remember when it came out. It's like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay. All right. Well, Terry, that has not made the cut for the road to 300. I'm sorry to say,
but I will say this: I'm already putting together my post 300 list.
Yeah, so it very likely will show up like not soon after.
And that fits very well, at least for me, because going up to 300, I like to pull down the top shelf stuff. Then after 300, the 100 mark, the first 5 or 10 movies after that, I like to be a little obscure. So
for you, how obscure? Because so does that mean 1977?
I mean,
1978. You got a wheelhouse, brother.
Look, I'll pull something out for you. So,
but just to let people know that we have made a slight change to the lineup for the Road to 300, which you can find on our website. You go to the Michaud Mission, and if you actually scroll down on the homepage, you'll see where it says Road to 300, and that'll take you to a page where it lists all the films that we are going to be reviewing from now until episode 300, which is scheduled to hit sometime in May of next year. But in March, the last weekend in March, I believe next to last, we will be reviewing now. It is made the Road to 300. As Vincent and I will be sitting down with the comedian Daryl Charles and the noted sexology expert, Dr. Tim Marie, to review Toi, which is about an excellent day to be black and sexy.
Well, and it seems weird that there will be 4 of us reviewing it.
Yeah, well, that's true. That is true. Maybe I'll just run the mic.
Maybe you just run the mic.
Let you guys
just let us
have at it.
Yes, but there you go. Toi will be in before 300.
Miss Makiba. Hey, Miss Makiba. How you doing?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Is saying that Idris Elba is funny in Rock and Rolla. I'm not sure. I haven't seen Idris in
I have not
Rock
seen
and Rolla. George Carmona, long time no hear from.
Hey, George.
Said that Idris did Turn Up Charlie on Netflix.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that. He was funny on those couple episodes of The Office.
And Aaron Fry said that Idris was also in one season of The Office.
Yeah, he was funny.
Wow. I've never watched The Office.
I mean,
I've never seen that. Janine says, let's get sexy for 2022.
Okay.
How do we get sexy, Vincent?
I don't know. Now I'm afraid to ask what we were in 2021.
I know, right?
Maybe we were schlubby.
We were schlubby.
In 2021. We'll do better.
We'll do better.
We'll do better.
We're off to a grand start. And we're off and running.
And we are off and running.
All right. Let's see. Vincent, it's time for our favorite game show.
Oh, already?
It is time for our favorite game show.
And what game is that?
That is 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin.
D'Urville Martin.
Now, before we do that, I want to address a request that we got in the latter part of last year.
Okay.
When the missionaries were screaming at us to come up with some type of merch for our 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin game.
That won't get us sued.
By
the estate of D'Urville Martin.
Right.
Okay.
Now, whether or not it will get us sued, I don't know.
Oh boy.
However,
here we go.
Next week,
you're gonna get a cease and desist.
Next week, we will be debuting new 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin merch.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So I don't know if it'll get us sued.
Buy fast.
So they'll be available for a limited time.
We'll just add the letter to the pile.
Maybe the merch will just be the cease and desist.
Right, just the cease and desist. Oh boy. All right. I'm for it.
So next week, ladies and
gentlemen, buy fast.
And if you are a subscriber to our newsletter, then you will actually get an early jump on it, because the newsletter is going to go out on Sunday, and that's where the designs are going to be there first.
All right.
So we'll give subscribers to the newsletter first dibs.
First dibs
on the Delroy Martin.
All right.
And if you want to subscribe to our newsletter, all you have to do is go to the Show Mission website, ladies and gentlemen. The Show Mission, 2 Men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. Go to MichelleMission.com, and that's where you can subscribe to our newsletter. As well as if you are a listener of ours on Spotify, now what you can do on Spotify is you can actually give your favorite podcasts stars and a rating. So if you listen to the Michelle Mission on Spotify, please feel free. Hit us up with 5 stars on Spotify because it looks really great and it helps people find the show. Okay?
All right.
All right.
All right.
You ready, Vincent?
Always.
Because I dug deep for this one.
If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. What you got?
I am right.
All right.
All right. So we're going to play 6 Degrees of Delroy Martin.
6 Degrees of Delroy Martin.
Vincent.
Yes, sir. Who do I have to get to in 6 connections or less from the thespian Delroy Martin?
Get your butt to Harry Dean Stanton.
Oh, that's easy. Delroy Martin is in Dolomite. With Rudy Ray Moore. Rudy Ray Moore is in The Monkey Hustle with Yaphet Kotto. Yaphet Kotto is an alien with Harry Dean Stanton.
Oh, man.
Boom!
Oh, man. That was...
Boom! You like how I've been trying to use Rudy Ray Moore. Like, that's my Rudy... I've been trying to figure out how to use Rudy Ray Moore in there.
Yeah.
Like I know you think I'm leaning on Sidney Poitier.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, you know what? I bet I can use Rudy Ray Moore more than I use Rudy Ray Moore. And I did just now.
You did. You did. Well, anticipating that you were going to blow it out the water with Harry Dean Stanton, I come prepared.
Okay.
With another one.
Yes. Who you got?
So, Vincent.
Yes.
Using only movies.
Oh, only movies.
Yes.
I see you've put that caveat in there, which means that you're going to go to someone who usually is on television. And that would be who?
Get from Delroy Martin.
In 6 moves or less to
Grandpa Al Lewis.
Oh.
Grandpa.
Well, you know, this is one of those cases where I just don't know what movie he was in.
Oh, really? You don't?
No, Lynn. I don't know who Grandpa, the grandfather from the Munsters, what movie he was in. I'm sure he had a long, distinguished career as like the 5th bill dude in some movies in the 40s. Can you give me 2 movies he was in?
Okay.
That I would recognize?
Oh, well, now you want to be particular.
Yeah, all right. Well, yeah, give me 2 movies he was in. Come on.
Okay.
All right.
Movies that
I didn't even know that was his name.
You didn't know that was his name?
How would I have known that is his name?
The credit comes up every time you watch The Munsters. I knew his name was Al Lewis.
I know you did.
Okay.
What was he in?
I'll give you 2 movies.
2 movies he was in.
Because I'm not going to give you the movie that you could get to.
All right. Well, give me 1 movie, and then if I can't use that one,
all right,
I'll use another movie.
He was in Munster Go Home.
The Munsters movie?
Yes. But okay, that's not fair. So he was...
Wait a minute, because the dude, what's his name that plays the Frankenstein?
Fred Gwynn.
Was Fred Gwynn in A Few Good Men?
No.
What was Fred Gwynn in that I'm thinking about? Like
he was in
something in the 80s.
He was in My Cousin Vinny.
Was he in My Cousin Vinny?
Yes, he's the judge.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking about. He's in My Cousin Vinny. In which case,
Al, he was also in.
No,
I'm giving you a movie
I don't need. I can work with this.
Okay,
I can work with this. Delroy Martin is in Uptown Saturday Night. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's not in Uptown.
D'Urville Martin is and guess who's coming together? Guess who's coming to dinner with Sidney Poitier.
Okay.
Sidney Poitier is in Uptown Saturday Night with Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor is in Which Way Is Up with Margaret Avery.
Okay.
So I'm at 3.
Okay.
Margaret Avery is in The Color Purple with Danny Glover. Danny Glover is in Lethal Weapon 2 or 3 with Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci is in My Cousin Vinny with Fred Gwynn.
Okay,
so I'm right at 6.
Okay, but we're not going to Fred Gwynn. We're going to
we're going to no. Okay. Oh, so I was 1. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm still working.
Okay. All right. I'm with you.
All right. So this is how I'm going. Okay. Okay. So I got to get to Joe Pesci quicker, which I know I can. Oh!
You scared the hell out of me.
D'Urville Martin is in 5 on the Black Hand Side with Dick Anthony Williams.
Okay.
Dick Anthony Williams is in Mo Better Blues with Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson is in Goodfellas with Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci is in My Cousin Vinny with Fred Gwynn.
Right.
Who's in the Munster movie with Al Lewis.
Okay.
So there's 5.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. What was the other movie? What was the movie that you said you could use? I would have got to him quick. I mean, I won. But at this point, I'm trying to not use Mo Better Blues, and I'm trying to do I'm just trying to be fancy now.
I know.
It's like when the Brazilian soccer team wins,
Mhm.
but they want to win pretty.
Yes.
Like, obviously, I'm going to win.
Mhm.
I just want to win pretty.
Yes.
So what movie were you going to use that I'd get to him super quick?
You could have gone to, and I'm trying to wait a minute because I want to make sure that this makes sense. Because D'Urville Martin's in a movie with Raymond St. Jacques, and I'm trying to remember which movie that is.
Oh, he's in
Hold on.
Is he in Cotton Comes to Harlem?
D'Urville Martin? No.
What's he in with Raymond St. Jacques?
I'm trying to find it. Hold on. He's in one of these. The Final Come Down. That's what it is.
You in this Final Come Down that you've never seen?
No,
and I haven't seen. I don't know how long.
I've never seen it.
I didn't know Raymond St. Jacques.
No.
was in that.
No. That's not it.
Right, because that's Billy D. Williams.
That's not the movie. Yeah, that's what it's. Black Like Me. He's in Black Like Me.
D'Urville Martin is in Black Like Me.
Yeah, I know, right? He's in Black.
Raymond St. Jacques is in Black Like Me.
Yeah,
I actually kind of remember Raymond St. Jacques, but okay.
D'Urville Martin's in Black Like Me with Raymond St. Jacques.
Okay.
Who is in Comeback Charleston Blue,
right,
with Philip Michael Thomas, who is in Coonskin.
Philip Michael Thomas is not in Comeback Charleston Blue.
Yes, he is. He plays the minister. Who is in Coonskin,
right,
with Al Lewis.
Al Lewis is in Coonskin. Interesting.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
me neither. Just look.
I was keeping Coonskin in my back pocket to get to Scatman Crothers.
Scatman Crothers.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, like at some point I knew I was going to get to Coonskin.
Yeah,
because I knew Philip Michael Thomas could be useful.
Yeah. Damon, your brother,
Yes.
who, to be fair, is Googling.
Yes.
So let's not think that he's
Yes.
just,
Yes.
like
Yes.
regurgitating this stuff. Says Grandpa Al Lewis, he knew who he was, to Fred McMurray, to Marissa Tomei, Glenn Turman, and Delroy Martin. Well, yeah, I can name 6 names. You gotta say the movies.
Yes.
You gotta say the movies, man.
Yes. So yes, Al Lewis.
Al Lewis. Yeah. So well done, though.
Well, thank you.
I didn't think you'd get there at all.
I mean,
but you were.
If you give me a movie, I can.
Well, yeah, I give you
try and work with it.
Yeah.
I do. My weakness is not knowing anything that they're in. You found my kryptonite. Random actor who's not known for his movie work. Curses. Foiled again. By my lack of knowledge about an aspect of his career that no one knows about.
Tune in next week when
Grandpa Monster.
When Vince goes from 6 degrees of Delroy Martin to Flo from the Progressive commercial.
Right. Like, but you gotta use movies.
Only movies.
You gotta use movies.
That'd be funny. I wonder if she's done a movie. Damon says, I'm not Googling. I don't believe you. Anyway.
Look her up. Look up Flo from the Progressive commercials.
Okay.
Right now. Real time.
All right.
Has she ever been in a movie?
Flo from Progressive. It is progressive movies, right? Let's see. The actress is Stephanie Courtney.
Okay.
Stephanie Courtney.
Don't trust people with 2 first names, but
leave it alone. She has been in a number of short films.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, she was. Oh, blink and you miss her in For Your Consideration, which is one of the
Eugene Levy movies,
right? But it's I can't think of the guy.
Christopher Guest.
Christopher Guest. That's it. She's also in Blades of Glory, which is a Will Ferrell movie, and she was in 2007's The Heartbreak Kid, which I think was a remake of the original movie. So there you go. So those are the films that she does. She's done.
You said she's in Blades of Glory?
Mm-hmm. But she said she's just playing a reporter.
Dick Anthony Williams, Samuel L. Jackson, Megan Good in Eve's Bayou, Megan Good to Will Ferrell in Anchorman 2.
Megan Good's in Anchorman 2.
Will Ferrell
to Blades of Glory.
5 moves. Boom.
Wow. Now you're just putting it on the table.
Now I'm just, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Ow!
Okay. All right. Enough of you.
And you know I can get to everybody in Blazing Saddles through Gene Hackman. Because Richard Pryor, you get to Richard Pryor really quickly,
Richard Pryor, yeah.
And then you get to Gene Hackman. So now I'm everybody in Blazing Saddles.
Gene Hackman or Gene Wilder?
Gene Wilder.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
I can get to Gene Hackman too, though. I can get to Gene Hackman. I can get to Gene Hackman.
Vincent.
I can get to Gene Hackman.
Vincent, look, don't let Al Lewis go to your head.
I'm just saying.
All right.
I'm just saying. Dick Anthony Williams, Denzel Washington with Morgan Freeman in Glory and Unforgiven, Gene Hackman. What's that, 4? Is that 4? Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
You happy?
I am happy. 2022. Grandpa Monster.
It was a good pull. Don't knock it. You know it's a good pull. That's a good pull, Grandpa Lewis. I like that. Anyway,
I never really liked the Munsters.
You were an Addams Family guy?
Of course.
Do you know, I actually recently watched a couple of episodes of the Addams Family.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think I am still more of a Munsters guy. But to be honest, they're about as good as that. One is like,
Addams Family just had the better pedigree because of the cartoons.
Because of the cartoons.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, but
But you're right. Like the Addams Family always was like the hipster pick.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
the people who were too cool for school didn't like the Munsters.
Yeah, because the Munsters were trying to say something about. I mean, but they both were like
they both just
okay.
sort of. They were just sort of okay.
Nothing. I mean, neither of them were breaking down barriers.
Right.
In their time.
I do think the Addams Family ages better though.
I guess. I don't know.
you just don't have the energy to.
I don't.
You just. Hey man, I feel you. It's like some things like I just don't have the energy to argue about this.
Yeah. You know how you feel sometimes when I go off on my door? You just sit there looking at me.
Grandpa Munster.
I like Grandpa.
Yeah.
See now, he stays prevalent in my mind because in the 80s he was a recurring guest on the Howard Stern show.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. So you always go to the strip clubs with him, and he was friends with Larry Flint for Hustler.
Was he really?
Oh yeah. Grandpa Lewis he was out there, man. He'd be out there with his little bolero tie, man, and cowboy hat. Oh man, yeah. All right. And they just called him Grandpa because you couldn't call him like Dracula or anything like that. So because he didn't have the rights, it's kind of.
You probably couldn't call him Grandpa Munster.
No, you just called him Grandpa Al Lewis. They just called him Grandpa Al Lewis. That's what they called him.
Ain't nobody trying to get sued by the Munsters.
No. They ain't going Clayton Moore him. Hell no. All right. Well,
you're not going to explain that to people.
Clayton Moore?
Yeah, you just going to drop a reference. You're just going to drop a reference to something that happened. I mean, was that the 50s?
I mean, it wasn't. Well, it happened actually in the 80s. Well, Clayton Moore was, for those who don't know,
which is everyone.
I
mean, I know because my nerd goes almost as deep as yours.
Clayton Moore in the 50s was television's Lone Ranger.
Yes, he played the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger from black and white all the way into color.
Okay.
I actually voiced him on some cartoons, I believe. But and then would
those
do
Filmation joints? Was that his voice?
Maybe it wasn't him. Whatever. He was the Lone Ranger. Yeah. He was the face of the Lone Ranger. So much so that even after the show went off the air, he would still appear as the Lone Ranger all over the place at public appearances.
Like car dealership openings.
Exactly.
And because this was really before cons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like he'd actually just be out and about.
Yeah. And he was opening, ribbon cutting.
Yeah, I was about to say the ribbon cut. Right. Until
like about the late 70s, 80s, when, and I think this may have been it may have actually been the 90s, because I think it was around the time.
I thought it was connected to the movie.
It was,
this all went down. So
that's
right.
Been the 80s. But it was, because it wasn't. I was mixing it. It's not the Johnny Depp Lone Ranger. It's the 80s.
Right, the
Lone
80s
Ranger.
With that wasn't Army Hammer.
No. It's like some no name.
Right. But remember, his career was like, sort of stillborn.
Yeah, because of the Lone Ranger stuff. Right. Yeah,
but go ahead. Go ahead.
So the 80s, they were
dropping Clayton. He's not going to get Clayton Moore. I know this Negro
in the 80s,
at
the height of like superherodom. So that's why they wanted to do this big Lone Ranger movie. So they basically said, to kind of like stop confusion, the powers that be said that Clayton Moore could no longer appear as the Lone Ranger at these public appearances.
But as you said, he had been doing it for like 20 years at this point.
Almost 30 years, because the show went off in the 60s.
Right.
So like he was like this was his bread and butter.
Right.
So what he did was he said, okay, I can't wear the paraphernalia anymore.
Right.
So
which is really just a blue shirt.
So he bought a nondescript blue shirt.
Right.
They couldn't say anything about cowboy hats. So he wore distinctly like a white hat, cowboy hat that just wasn't the Lone Ranger.
Right.
So it looked slightly different.
Right.
And because he couldn't wear a mask, he wore these huge, huge sunglasses. Like the big old people sunglasses that like like you wear for eclipses.
Yes,
that's what he wore. And he would just go out as Clayton Moore, your favorite Ranger.
Yes,
and he would continue making his money. And I think they ultimately,
came to an agreement.
They came to an agreement.
The PR around it
he got shamed.
Yeah,
and this was before the days of internet.
Yeah,
and this was on the news everywhere.
Look, the only reason that we knew about it, is because it was on the news.
Yep.
So, yeah, you just reference like, like. I know people, it's like all the nerd stuff is mainstream now. Like, oh, I'm a geek.
Yeah,
I'm a nerd. I'm a geek.
Yeah.
And I tell people, oh, yeah, okay. Like I've never been a gatekeeper guy. Like, you need to know this and then. But understand, it's levels to this thing.
That's very true. That's very true.
Lynn is deep nerded up. So like when you said Clayton Moore, I said, I know he is not referencing the legal case against the actor who portrayed the Lone Ranger,
formerly known as the Lone Ranger,
from 1983. Just off the cuff. Just
leaving it out there.
Oh, he didn't want to get Clayton Moore. Now then, moving on, we'll be talking about. I said, did he just reference Clayton Moore? And now you know the rest of the story.
There you go. Farrell Blackwell has a true confession that until he became an adult, he really didn't know the difference between the Munsters and the Addams family.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
A lot of people don't know the difference, and a lot of people, think that the Dracula and Frankenstein and Wolfman and all them are referenced on the Addams family, and they're not.
Right.
They're never referenced.
Yeah.
On the Addams family.
Oh yeah. I didn't know that the Addams family was based on Charles Addams cartoons
when you were younger.
Until I was probably 19, 20 and found like a collection of them somewhere.
Yeah, I knew it because I was a comic strip guy. So,
well, and again, there are levels to this thing. There are a few people that I acknowledge. Yeah, his ass is actually nerdier than I am. You were one of the few people.
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah. Clayton Moore.
Deborah Battle says that he wore blue blockers. The last time that he was on TV actually was a episode of Highway to Heaven with Michael Landon.
Oh,
no, there you go.
I bet he didn't wear that mask though.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. And George Kimona, going back to Grandpa Al Lewis, says that Grandpa Al Lewis also hung tight with one Ron Jeremy.
Oh, so he was just.
I told you, man.
He was just.
He got in.
Oh, I hope anybody who shook his hand had some hand sanitizer afterwards. Like everybody you just named, like I wouldn't drink a soda after him.
He would be on Howard Stern, and every time, Howard Stern in the 80s is famous for naked women running around, and you just hear Grandpa Al Lewis on the microphone. Yeah.
That's just nasty.
All right, let's get into it. All right, let's go. We went down this nerd well.
I mean, you're over there talking about Grandpa Munster and Clayton Moore.
And God bless the missionaries. They picked it up and ran with it.
Right.
They were running.
Right.
Shoot. All right. Let's get into our review.
Yes.
What movie are we reviewing? Juice.
Juice.
I seriously forgot what
Well, I hope that's what you watched. I hope you didn't watch the Monster movie.
I watched Fred Gwynn. All right. But first, it's time for trailer talk.
Yes.
I'm going to give you a little geek test.
Okay.
Speaking of Al Lewis and Fred Gwynn.
Yes.
Who were stars in The Munsters.
Yes.
What was their first television pairing, which was a bigger hit than The Munsters?
I have no idea.
Oh, really?
I have no idea.
Oh.
I have no idea what television show. First of all, again, I don't know nothing about Al Lewis. You're going to keep talking about Al Lewis like he's a going concern. I was impressed that I remember what Fred Gwynn looked like without that makeup on.
Well, yes. They were the stars of Car 54, Where Are You? Which was a 50s sitcom.
I've never seen one episode of that.
A lot of people heralded it as like a very funny show. I've watched a couple episodes. I guess it was funny for its time.
Okay.
But it was kind of weird to see Fred Gwynn and Al Lewis as cops.
Okay.
Like they're just they're like plain, cops, like dressed in the blues and everything.
Nothing really funny about Fred Gwynn's big ass in a cop. Like, he too big to be a cop.
He's not.
I'm not really comfortable with his big ass.
He wasn't walking around in his Fred Munster shoes.
I'm saying he like 6'13".
He's not that tall. I mean, he's tall, but
he's a big dude.
He's tall. Yeah. Well, he was a Renaissance man. He was quite a painter. Did you know that? No, obviously you didn't.
You gonna keep asking me?
This is not Al Lewis. This is Fred Gwynn. I thought.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I don't.
They actually did. He actually had his work on display in galleries, and it was sold. It was featured on television.
I did not know that about Fred Gwynn.
You've
reached the limits of my knowledge.
But you can get from Derval Martin to Flo in the Progressive commercial.
I can.
In 4 moves.
That's right.
But you don't know anything about Fred Gwynn.
I don't know anything about Fred Gwynn.
Give me that nerd card back.
I know, right? I know. Your nerd foo is good, but it could be better. Yeah.
Yo, speaking of which,
yes,
I know there was something else I wanted to talk to you about, and this is a perfect time to talk about it.
Okay.
I don't know if you watched it on Netflix.
All right.
There's actually a very good, because sometimes the Netflix documentaries that have to deal with pop culture, it's just a whole bunch of people like talking about member berries, about that type of stuff, and it's not really, don't get deep.
Sure.
But there is a very good documentary on there. I think it's called Iron Fist and Kung Fu Kicks.
Oh.
And it's all about the kung fu movie wave that hits and it goes from the 60s into today.
Interesting.
And dude, they get deep. They get deep in the history of the Shaw Brothers.
Boy, it's so funny you should see. Have you seen the ad for that Shaw Brothers box set that just came out?
No, I haven't seen an ad for it.
It's like 20 films, 2 CDs worth of music. It's a bunch of essays and stuff. It's like $130 for the box set. I was just looking at that earlier, and I was like, ugh, I kind of like that. That's so funny. You should say you're talking about the Shaw Brothers.
You should watch the documentary, man. The documentary
earlier.
talks about how Golden Harvest came in and kind of like stole Shaw Brothers' thunder because they were able to lock up Bruce Lee.
I was about to say, and
they go on about Bruce Lee as well.
I mean, I wouldn't say this during the show. Like this is trailer talk. Like they were the gangsters, right? Golden Harvest.
They don't mention that.
Yeah, I thought they were the ones tied up with the gangsters.
They didn't go that deep into it.
Yeah, but I know Golden Heart. They were some bad dudes. I think
it's really very cool, man. It goes into like the kung fu wave of here in the United States. Okay. They even reference Billy Jack, which movie I've never seen, but watching those clips, I was like, I can see people.
Billy Jack is exactly what you think it is.
Yeah, corny.
It's exactly what you think it is. It's kind of watchable though, in a weird 70s kind of way.
It looked like it was kind of watchable. You know what I'm saying? They go do definitely a deep dive on Bruce,
Of course.
and then talk about all the pretenders to the crown afterwards.
Absolutely.
They mention, Jim Kelly.
Okay.
They give him, they talk about him.
Right. He was there.
He was there.
They get the nice and smooth the kung fu movie.
They get into Jackie Chan.
Okay.
They get into the Crouching Tiger movies. It's really, it actually got a lot deeper than I expected it to. And I was like, yo, this is actually pretty good. I am enjoying this.
Okay.
So you should check that out on Netflix.
The list. I like it.
Iron Fist and Kung Fu Kicks.
Okay. Excellent.
It's pretty dope.
Excellent.
All right. Fred Gwynn was in On the Waterfront, which was one of my favorite Marlon Brando flicks. That's what Bree 517 says.
I did not know that. I've also not seen On the Waterfront in probably 25 years.
I actually watched it not too long ago, and I think I maybe remember him there. It's a good movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Very good movie.
It's one of those classic movies that actually lives up to the hype.
Mm-hmm. The in the chat, they're going on a Nick at Night rant right now. They're talking about Mr. Ed, Green Acres, My Three Sons, the Donna Reed show.
Mm-hmm.
The Donna Reed show.
It's a pretty tight show. I was just about to say, I actually really like the Donna Reed show.
I don't think I've ever watched the Donna Reed show.
It's a pretty tight show.
I'm not watching the Donna Reed show. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do it.
I mean,
I won't do it.
All right.
No.
Fine.
No.
You go ahead and watch The Monsters.
You know what else I watched?
What else?
Last thing. And I couldn't even finish it.
Okay.
Being the Ricardos on Amazon.
Not good?
No. I didn't like it.
Okay.
One, because, and I like Aaron Sorkin, but he has a way of writing where people sound like him.
Yes.
The actors sound like a lot alike.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of this in there. So that was throwing me off. But the biggest problem, because the cast is not bad, but the biggest problem is unfortunately Nicole Kidman.
Okay.
Who is cast as Lucille Ball.
Sure.
And I was a huge fan of Nicole Kidman. But somewhere in the last maybe 5, 6, 7 years, Nicole Kidman fell in love with the knife.
Oh.
And Nicole Kidman is a mannequin now.
Yeah.
And I was reading other reviews, and every review mentions it. You can't play Lucy and not be able to move your face.
Look, man.
Emote.
In my mind, Lucille Ball is like Muhammad Ali. Like, I think I just think it's a losing proposition. Like, I don't think anyone can play them.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's an impossible role. Like, who plays Lucy?
Well, so no.
Without looking like you're pretending to be Lucy.
Well, no, to be fair, and if Nicole Kidman, she kind of be younger than Nicole Kidman, I think that just off the top of my head, Deborah Messing could play Lucille Ball.
She just looks like Deborah Messing doing a Lucy riff.
Okay, but I think she could play Lucille Ball. And to your point,
I think she could play a Lucille Ball type.
Well, I think she could. I think she could do Lucy, just like to your point about Muhammad Ali. And I want to get the actors.
You talking about the little brother in One Night in Miami?
Yeah, Eli Gorey.
Sure, he played a good young
Cassius Clay.
Cassius Clay. If he had played Muhammad Ali 1 year after that film was set, it would have fallen apart.
Oh, only because he's too young.
He can play the dude about to become Muhammad Ali, which is what that role was. Like literally, he was about to change his name and all. But yeah, Muhammad Ali he's too big, and I think Lucy's the same. Like, they're too big. You can't play them.
I disagree. I think you can play Lucy because Lucy behind the scenes is not Lucy in front of the camera. Lucy behind the scenes, Lucy will tell you yes.
Now
this is my dirt.
No, that's a fair point.
Because Lucy behind the scenes was like all business.
Okay, that's a good point. Muhammad Ali was always Muhammad Ali, but Lucy. Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think Deborah Messing could have pulled that off.
So what I need is Deborah Messing to be like,
and she's younger than Nicole Kidman, so she could have played it.
To be like sort of like, I forget the movie we watched, the black and white movie you watched like 2 or 3 years ago, where they referenced the blackface. Like every time they showed him, he was coming off stage and he was taking the blackface off.
Oh, that was like one of those old
right,
movies.
right.
Yeah.
But it was like put together. It was financed by a church, remember? And they said that they didn't want no parts of that.
Yeah.
So they referenced it. So I would like to see Deborah Messing in a Lucy biopic. Like they say, cut, and then she like climb out
the set,
right? Like walk off the set or like climb out the tub with the grapes, and then come and be Lucille Ball
behind the
businesswoman and produce. Okay,
yeah,
all right, make that happen, Lynn.
Okay,
call up Clayton Moore and Grandpa Munster. They told Clayton Moore, you can't do that no more. What kind of dick move was that?
I know, right? Right. That is corny. That is corny.
All right, let's talk about juice.
That's a cool little segue right there.
You like that, right?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun. I was just living in there for a minute. Juice, a 1992 American crime thriller film directed by Ernest R. Dickerson, written by Dickerson and Gerard Brown, and stars Omar Epps, Tupac Shakur, Jermaine Hopkins, and Khalil Kain. The film is the writing and directing debut of Dickerson and features Tupac Shakur's acting debut. The film touches on the lives of 4 Black youths growing up in Harlem, following their day-to-day activities, their struggles with police harassment, rival neighborhood gangs, and their families. The film was shot in New York, primarily in the Harlem area in 1991. And from 1992, it is Vincent's selection for today's stop on the road to 300 here on the Me Show Mission. Vincent, what say you of Juice?
It kind of seems like it goes without saying, but I'm really glad that we're doing this movie. I thought this was an interesting exercise for us to look at, like a movie that has become maybe a cut above a cult classic.
Yeah,
like it really is a black classic. It's an iconic performance by Tupac Shakur, if no one else in the film. But it's a really interesting film to kind of dissect and look at. It's an hour and 35 minutes.
Yep, tight.
It's a tight hour and 35, or rather the time span is tight. As you said, it's the writing debut and the directing debut of Ernest Dickerson. And there are some nice parts, like just as parts of a film, there are some nice parts. I think obviously you start with the cast. Like this cast a lot. I mean, you know, let's take Tupac out of this conversation right now. Put him aside for the moment. Big fan of Khalil Kain.
Okay.
Kain.
Kain,
Khalil Kain. We've talked about him before in Love Jones, which I love him in Love Jones. He was a recurring character on Girlfriends for its entire run, the television show Girlfriends. And I like him. I like him as an actor. A lot of charisma, a lot of presence. You see this in this film. Last time we talked about Jermaine Hopkins, who plays Steele, was in Lean on Me. Another one kind of plays this role, this kind of jovial kid. He's kind of the comic relief of the group of these 4 boys. And then, of course, Omar Epps, which just to reference Tupac a moment, I think the greatest thing you can say about Omar Epps in this film is that he's not completely swallowed by Tupac.
Right.
Every time he's on the screen. Have some great moments. Samuel L. Jackson is in here for 2 or 3 scenes, and he's fantastic. Queen Latifah is in here for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And these, 1991, you could say, oh, I kind of like them.
Yeah.
Like they kind of pop a little. I like to see more from them.
Mm-hmm.
The storyline of these 4 boys who are just kind of together and getting in the, for the most part, low-level hijinks.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting in this hour and 35-minute film. For 1/3 of it, I'm not going to say the plot meanders, but it kind of wanders around. Like Ernest Dickerson really takes his time building this world.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of go from moment to moment. And like I said, I don't want to use the word meander because I think that has a negative connotation.
Yeah, you did say it.
But it does kind of wander around. But films that I like a lot, you can say the same thing. I think our beloved Cooley High. I don't know if Cooley High has a plot. It's sort of the whole
kind of like stumbles into a plot.
Right. It's the whole movie is like this. Yeah. The Learning Tree, the same thing. So I don't think a film has to have this very linear A to B to C plot for it to succeed. And Ernest Dickerson really does kind of let this film breathe, and you get these nice touches about this community and this place. Like you get this real sense of place. Minute 40, the gun shows up. And reading about this film, Ernest Dickerson talks about how he has had this idea for this movie. He had it for decades before he made this movie, and he pulled a lot of stories from people that he knew and his own upbringing. And one of the interesting things to me about this movie, set in 1991, is it has this older film feel to it.
Yeah.
The way it talks about the gun. Like it is a gun. And this gun changes everything. And it really does feel like a plot point from a film from the 50s or 60s. Like someone was just talking about On the Waterfront or Rebel Without a Pause. Like you think about those old 50s or 60s films where there's a gun, which when you consider this is the 90s, where it seems like everybody had 15,000 guns and everybody shooting. I got a Uzi and I got a rocket launcher and I got a nuclear missile. But this is a gun that changes everything. And the thing that I liked about the introduction of the gun is introduced at minute 40. Minute 50, 10 minutes after Khalil Kain's character, Raheem, introduces the gun, things have gone completely off the rails with this gun. And it's almost like the film transforms and it gets really sharp. And this is, not coincidentally, but appropriately, when Tupac Shakur just blossoms. I think it was interesting. I was watching it today and I was kind of taking notes and I was like, okay, Tupac is good, the first half hour or so. And I like the broad strokes and the characterization, and you see him in his home life and everything going on with his father, and he lives with his grandmother. Okay. But once he gets the gun and Bishop basically becomes larger than life, you completely understand how Tupac Shakur catapulted into this status from this performance. And part of the reason that I like that we're talking about this film now is that this is the third Ernest Dickerson film we've talked about. We talked about Bones, and we talked about Demon Knight. Both of those are horror films. And there's a bit of that in here.
A little bit.
Like the way he frames the shots, the way he follows Bishop, there's a beautiful moment where Omar Epps' character Q is basically avoiding Bishop. And he goes to school and he closes the locker. And Bishop is just there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he might as well be Candyman.
Yeah.
You know, the way he stalks these streets, he's on the rooftop. And I love that. Like, I love the way the film shifts into that. Ernest Dickerson's direction, I think the first half hour or so, it's okay. Like, you know, he knows what he's doing. This is clearly somebody who has some skill and knows about establishment of place. But boy, once the gun is introduced, the sequence where Q is going to the DJ battle, and it's almost this Spike Lee frame, you know, sequence with him, the steady cam shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, the sequence in the alleys where Bishop is almost stalking them. All of this, he like just comes alive, so that it's almost like a journey through the film. So that by the end, you realize, okay,
yeah,
we got something happening here. Can you are there parts of the film that you can say needed more development? Of course. Again, it's only 1 hour and 35 minutes. I enjoy the 40 minutes of the establishment of place and you kind of have these kind of moments, but arguably you could get to it a little quicker.
Yeah.
There's this whole side plot with Q, who's in high school, and he's dating Cindy from In Vogue, who's playing a nurse.
Yes.
That is distracting because no one ever really addresses it. In interviews, Ernest Dickerson says this is based on an anecdote from one of his friends. And, frankly, I'm not going to say it's unrealistic because it was always that dude.
Yeah.
Like, it was always that dude who was operating on that level.
Yeah.
But in a film that, again, like you said, it's a tight film. There's 1 hour and 35 minutes. I felt like every moment he was there with her was a moment that could have been spent better in other aspects of this film.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that.
But regardless, when the film is over, I think you understand why it holds the reverence that it holds. And you understand why when we talk about now the legend of Tupac Shakur, you come back to Juice.
Well, Bree 517 gave us another reason why this movie has the status that it has, because according to her, fine ass young Omar Epps on this episode, we're already starting off the year sexy.
Well, there you go.
So there you go. Yeah, I thought, first of all, in regards to the shot that you mentioned of Q returning to the DJ battle and it being a la Spike Lee with the Steadicam, right? Now, we haven't mentioned it, but Ernest Dickerson, this is his writing and directing debut. Up until now, he has been Spike Lee's cinematographer on all of his movies, right? Before he does Juice, which means that he is the person who was responsible for making this vision of Spike Lee's, the Steadicam, move that he pretty much has had in every movie ever since, a thing. Actually making it, developing it and making it happen in the films. And for all we know, because how close he is with Spike Lee, he may have been the person to give the idea to Spike Lee.
Right.
My problem with that shot in every Spike Lee movie has been that almost every time I've seen it, it's just for show. Just because now you've almost expect it, right? What I liked about Ernest Dickerson using it, it felt intentional. It felt like it added to the storytelling, because you could tell that Omar Epps was like kind of like on this like steady thing with the camera and everything moving around him, but it helped put you in his mindset. It helped tell you what he was going through at that time as his head was spinning over all of the actions that were whirling around. And it added and heightened the tension of the moment. So it felt purposeful, and I loved it. And that's why it stood out that much more to me, because like, this is the way you're supposed to do this shot. This is what you're supposed to do. It's supposed to add something, not just be this little stupid flourish that you put on. So I really did appreciate that. The other thing, and someone is even mentioned it, I think it's George Cremona. No, Farrell Blackwell mentions that the gun is like the ring from Lord of the Ring. It changes the person that possesses it. What I liked about that introduction of the gun is, up until then, despite all of the forces that were around them, these were just 4 kids. You know, they were teenagers, and so they were cutting school. They were doing some knucklehead things that they weren't supposed to do, but for the most part, they were knucklehead kids. They were going over to their friend's house to eat some bacon, beer, and egg concoction that they were making up for everybody. They were sitting there watching old James Cagney movies, for God's sake, right? So they were just dumb kids who were, you know, just silly enough to be about the streets, but smart enough to know what line not to cross, right? And once the gun gets introduced, the line is crossed. The one thing that I will say that is missing from this movie is the scene where Khalil Kain's character, which is Raheem, the scene where Raheem is talked into actually pulling off the robbery, because the robbery is Tupac's idea, right? And Tupac, from the beginning, is shown that he's a little screwy. Like, he doesn't like people. Troubled. He's troubled. He doesn't like, because of, you know, you see his father's dealing with some type of mental issues that's not spoken of, but it definitely is displayed. And you can imagine that there might be some thought of heredity in Tupac's character, because the way that he is definitely dealing with some anger issues, and doesn't like being pushed around and stuff like that. And he sees them, you know, robbing this grocery store as them making their big move, right?
Right.
And it is really Q and Steele. You could sense that they're kind of like the young boys of the crew, right? And they're like, you're like, yeah, we're going along with whatever you and Raheem say. Raheem is the guy that's keeping them steady. It's like, no, we don't do that. That's not us. You know, we do dumb knucklehead stuff, but we don't do that, man. But the next thing you know, Raheem is calling a meeting, and yo, this is what we're going to do. We need to see the scene. Where did Raheem make that leap, right? Because that is totally not in character with the Raheem that we've seen the whole time. Now, is it possible that Raheem, because we see that he's, if not older than the guys, definitely is done a little bit more growing up than the guys, because he's a baby daddy, and he's got some issues with that, with his child's mother. And, he has the unfortunate, the circumstance to see his child and his child's mother drive off with special ed.
That's got to sting.
That's got to sting
That's
like a mug.
sting.
And it's not just drive off with special ed. Special ed is dapping up dude for getting his car. Like, here's a tip. So I got extra dough to tip you.
He got a frog. He got a dog with a solid gold bone.
You know what I'm saying? So, like,
Kind of fond of Honda scooters. Got 74.
Okay. All right. So if you want to say that he makes that leap because he feels like this is going to be his way to do for his kid, maybe. But we don't see that.
Right. They don't
really. You're not led to believe that that's it. You know what I mean? So that's the scene that's missing from this film. But that notwithstanding, you got there, you got to the crime, and it's interesting. Like, that gun, it does change everything, and this is the road where Bishop goes left. This is what separates Bishop from not only just his boys. This is what separates Bishop from the gang that is chasing him.
Right.
Because the gang that is chasing him is just glorified Jets from West Side Story.
Yeah.
Like they're just walking around. I mean, yeah, Tretch is looking tough, but he ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
He's basically like, they're holding him back. Tretch is, quiet as kept. Tretch is mad because the story goes, he went with Tupac to the audition for the role.
Yeah.
And Tupac said, well, I'm here.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll read. And next thing you know, he gets the role that Tretch was going for.
It's just like in Fame, where Leroy got into the school with that girl.
Exactly.
And then she was in the hallway sad. I didn't even want to go to this funky ass
Tretch is the girl in the hallway sad.
Girl in the hallway from Fame.
Who couldn't dance. Remember how she danced?
It's so funny. I was actually doing a dramatic reenactment of her dance, like literally 3 days ago in my kitchen. Because I think about her sometimes. And it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Because when she says, I ain't even want to go to this funky ass school, she did want to go to that funky ass school.
And Tretch wanted to be Bishop.
And Tretch wanted to be Bishop.
He did want to be Bishop.
Yeah.
So the next time you watch Fame, just paste Tretch's face.
Imagine Tretch
over the girl's face.
Because remember, she had on like some clown shoes. Like she had on the clown shoes.
All right. Enough of the tangent. So anyway.
And then for the red light, hot light, because Leroy had on some itty bitty shorts.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So it's interesting that when that gun introduced, because like I said, that gang that is chasing Tupac, you don't have a sense that they're out there robbing places. I mean, maybe they are, but you don't get that sense. You get that sense of that basically just like the tough guys in school. And one of them's got a switchblade.
I was about to say they don't have a gun.
Yeah.
Like there's one gun.
Yeah, and it's only one gun in the entire movie. Right. And even then it's
their man who holds up the bar. And goes down. But
yeah, and then
in the ecosystem of these kids,
it's just this one Saturday night special. And it's interesting that that's where his character takes that turn. That's where his character just the switch flips and he's gone. Right. Now you're right. Tupac is absolutely magnetic in this movie. The shame of it is that he's magnetic, but he's also because this is his acting debut, he's very big in this movie. Like, I think if Tupac, a more seasoned Tupac, looks at this performance and it's like, I probably could have dialed it back a couple of these scenes here, because a couple of scenes, like he's at 10, like he comes in at 10. There's no place else to go. Right. Which unfortunately leaves some of the other characters, when they're in scenes with him, nothing to do but just play opposite that energy. Now, Omar Epps is good playing opposite that energy, but Omar Epps, who is, at this time, I think he's 17, 18 years old.
He's really young too.
He's not the actor that he will become. So you're right. It's a compliment to him that he is not swallowed up by Tupac, but then he is sometimes a little swallowed up by Tupac because it's Tupac. There's only one scene where one person is not swallowed up by Tupac. And that's where Tupac goes to Samuel Jackson's pool hall and starts kicking this BS about what Q was up to and everything like that. And Sam Jackson is just standing there and is just listening to him.
And it's all on his face.
And it's all on his face, like this dude is kicking some boom. And his expression never changes, right? And I said, I don't know whether or not this is an acting choice of Sam Jackson's or this is just expert editing by Ernest Dickerson, but that is how you play against that energy, and it speaks to Samuel Jackson, of course. It probably is his choice. He knows what to do, and he makes the most of it. Which is a shame because I think in the beginning of the film, you're meant to kind of like feel this rivalry between Bishop and Raheem. And it just doesn't work because I don't think Khalil Kain can match Bishop in this. And he is the only character who gets a little as much as Bishop, and it just doesn't. It's just not the same. It's just not the same energy. It just doesn't work. But this is it's a tight movie. It does meander a little bit, to use your word, but I kind of like it because that is what life is. You're kind of just getting through the day. You know what I mean? It didn't ring true to me that this crew, as tight as they were, despite Bishop's hang up, weren't more excited about their bull wanting to be a DJ. Like, if nothing else, that means you're going to be carrying the crates. Right. That means you're going to be at all the parties. Yeah. That was the only one false note that they all were just like, why would you even want to do that? Like, that didn't ring for me. But I didn't mind it. I love that Omar Epps was able to show his other side outside of the shadow of Tupac when he was at home. When he was at home playing with his little brother. I thought that was a great scene. Fantastic scene. The scene of him DJing, so expertly done, so beautiful, like with him turning on a light and then he's practicing his DJ and mom comes in looking at him, she's proud. She's not going to tell him to go to bed, even though it's like 2:00 in the morning, all this music going. And then he turns off the light. I said, beautiful scene. There's a lot of smart touches in here, things where you can see that Ernest Dickerson that's been waiting to like pull out his quiver the things that he wanted to do when he got a chance at that as a director. And I think he pulls it off very well. It's a smart film, and it holds up despite it being 30, 40 years old. It holds up very well.
Yeah. To your point, just to circle back, I love the small moments. That moment with his little brother, which doesn't really do much. It's just a moment. I love that moment. I love the opening sequence where it shows their rituals as they get up for the morning. I think you're right. Tupac is big for the vast majority of the film, but there's that one moment at the beginning where he slips the money into his father's pocket.
Right.
That I love. I love the fact that when Q goes to buy a gun from Sweets, played by Ernest Dickerson's mother, by the way.
Yeah.
And you can tell, everything you need to know about Sweets being this sort of old time hustler, old time, underworld figure, if you will. And I love the fact that Sweets knows exactly who Q is and tells him to tell his mother that Jackie said hi.
That's right.
Because his mother knows her by her government. I love everything about Samuel Jackson's character. I love this kind of ad hoc
trip
arcade that he has set up. I love the fact that he knows everything going on before everyone is supposed to know. So that kind of built the world out.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of builds the world out. And then, you know, like you said, I think it does hold up.
Yeah.
I think it holds up really well. And again, back to the way the gun is treated, there is almost a timelessness to it. I think a lot of these films from the early 90s, where again, apparently, you know, guns just don't run out of bullets. Everybody, everybody got nons, like how everybody got a non. Like, I love the economics of this gun. Like, you got the sense that when Raheem went and bought the gun, this was a purchase. So that when Q also wants to buy a gun, he done had the money for it.
Right.
And we're going to keep saying it. It's a gun.
Yeah.
Like, everybody don't have a gun. It is one gun. And like you said, it's a Saturday night special. Like, anybody got a Desert Eagle and, you know, all this Grand Theft Auto artillery.
Right.
But that's all it takes.
Sharon Eldridge.
Everything.
Sharon Eldridge is in the chat saying that she loves Samuel Jackson's character Trip, except him hitting on underage girls. Yikes.
I mean, it's terrible.
It's terrible,
but the dude who runs the ad hoc candy store, arcade, little shop out of his house, that guy's always a little sketchy.
He's always a little sketchy.
He's a little sketchy.
And two, it's to speak well of the film, you don't see him get with any of the girls.
No.
You know, so the girls rebuff him.
Right. You know what's on his mind, but yeah.
Yeah. Now, what the film doesn't explain, as you mentioned, why is Cindy Heron,
Cindy from In Vogue.
Cindy from In Vogue.
I think that's her name, actually. Cindy from In Vogue.
That is her name.
Cindy from In Vogue.
As Yolanda, the nurse.
Yes.
In this movie.
The grown-ass nurse.
The getting a divorce nurse.
Yes.
Why is she bumping uglies with 17-year-old Omar Epps? And before Bree 517 chimes in, I know why you would be bumping uglies with 17-year-old Omar Epps. But in a movie, why is this nurse, who I think we're led to believe is at least legal?
So I mean, she's a nurse.
So
she's getting a divorce. She's in her late 20s at least.
I'm going to say
mid-20s?
Yeah, I'm going to say she's the least between 22 and 26 years old. Okay. I think that it's safe to say that that's what she's playing.
Yes.
Why is she with this 17-year-old wannabe DJ?
You never knew dudes like that?
No. Now, I've known guys who've done that.
Like they're like a quantum leap past everyone else.
Yes.
Like, at least she's divorced.
Yeah. But that's the story. That's the other scene that I want. I want to see what the kind of see, like, because there's no chemistry. At least if there was chemistry there, okay. But there's no chemistry between the two of them.
I don't even mind the plot point so much as I mind the fact that it's just not enough room in the film for it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't enhance the story at all.
No, it doesn't do anything except to give her to be the nurse at the end of the movie when Steele is brought to the hospital.
Right, but
I mean,
it didn't have to be.
That could have been anyone.
That could have been anyone.
Any cat. That quite as kept. It could have and should have been Raheem's sister.
Right. Raheem's sister could have been the nurse. Yes.
You know, because when she pipes, she's in two scenes, and when she pipes up in the second scene, I totally forgot about her from the first scene.
Right.
The first scene's at the very beginning of the movie.
Again, a great scene.
You know,
tells you about the family dynamic and everything. Yeah, it's a weird plot point that has been weird to me ever since I've seen it.
Yeah. Now, I'm not mad that Cindy Heron did not stick with acting.
she was not.
She
was not the strongest performer in this film.
No, she was not.
I heard you say they didn't have chemistry, but I thought part of the reason they didn't have chemistry is I don't know if Cindy Herron really realized what was happening. What was the film with Harry Belafonte and Dorothy Dandridge where he played like a teacher? I think it may have been his first film.
Oh,
with the little boy that could control bees.
Oh, I can't remember.
And it was the same thing where Harry Belafonte, we weren't quite sure that he understood.
He's in another
where
movie.
where the camera was. Like, did someone tell him they were making a movie? That's how I felt about Cindy in this movie. It's like, did she think this was going to be a music video? Like, was she looking for the other three girls in Vogue? Or because she is just sort of lost.
Yeah. Shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
I was a Terry man.
Well, I was a Dawn man. I like Dawn. Dawn's sexy. But ultimately I like Terry. But Terry to me looked like now I just drew a blank on her name. Holly Robinson Pete.
Why are you saying that like that's a bad thing?
No. So I already had Holly Robinson.
You already had Holly Robinson Pete.
So I didn't.
You didn't need another Holly Robinson Pete.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So you know,
say Holly Robinson Pete was bad.
Oh,
I mean, she is bad.
Holly Robinson, dude. Welcome to Tangents. So back on my first radio show, we were talking about. I think we were talking about Being Bobby Brown. This is how long
this
was. And in talking about it, I found out that Bobby Brown had actually at one day at least either dated or went out with Holly Robinson.
Wow.
Before she got with right. Dude, I was like, no. I was sick.
Shoot your shot, brother.
No, I don't like the idea of Bobby Brown with my Holly Robinson Pete.
Well, I'm sorry.
I mean, I can take Rodney Pete.
It's acceptable.
Yeah,
but not Bobby Brown.
No.
I always say you could tell a lot about a man by which member of In Vogue he liked.
So what does it say that I like Dawn?
I don't know. I just always like to ask, like, most people always pick Cindy.
No, they don't.
I thought Cindy was like the cheerleader in the group.
I don't think a lot of people pick Cindy.
I think
most people either pick Dawn or Tracy or Terry. I'm in Girlfriends.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think most people pick Cindy.
It always seemed like Cindy was
the consensus is that nobody picks the fourth one.
Who?
See.
Don't do that. Don't do that to my girls. It starts with an M.
I'm not even going to look it up. I'm going to see if you can pull it.
I can't pull it
because I know somebody's going to shout it in the.
I can get to Cindy Herron with Dermot Martineau.
Maxine.
I thought it was Maxine. But I was thinking about Living Single. And I was like, am I thinking about Living Single? Yeah.
See, George Cremona, Dawn all day. Told you it was Dawn or Terry.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So,
yes.
Would you recommend that people watch Juice?
I would recommend that people watch Juice, not only for Tupac Shakur, but I think this is a really good example of the type of films that they were making in the early 90s. Like this nice, solid group of films that they made. We haven't mentioned it. The soundtrack.
I was about to say
absolutely bananas.
Uptown Anthem, Naughty by Nature, Juice, the title track by Eric B. and Rakim.
Oh my God.
Teddy Riley and Tammy Lucas, Is It Good to You? Enough Respect, Big Daddy Kane.
Yo, you said no. Did you say No to Ledge? Yeah, you said Eric B. and
Rakim. Juice, No to Ledge, No to Ledge. Don't Be Afraid, Aaron Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Too Short, So You Want to Be a Gangster. And to me, the low key MVP of this soundtrack, especially for the way that it is used in the movie. Shoot 'em up, Cypress Hill.
Yeah.
When that comes in at the end, it's like, first of all, I didn't remember this being in the soundtrack because to me, I'm thinking Cypress Hill was like a little bit like later, but like, so this is like right prime. This is like beginning of Cypress Hill,
right?
And it's just a whole nother flavor. It just adds a whole nother like energy to it. I was like, oh, snap.
Look, I remember 91. Like no one would say out loud like Big Daddy Kane or Rakim were old, but they weren't like, like they weren't the backpack dudes.
No.
Like, they really were 88, 87, 88 dudes.
Yeah.
But I just remember with the soundtrack, it was like, never ever forget, I am Big Daddy Kane and I am Rakim.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you have your Busta Rhymes and you like I also enjoy the music of A Tribe Called Quest. But I am Rakim.
That's right.
Never forget that.
Know the ledge.
Exactly. So, but yeah, absolutely. I would strongly recommend.
I recommend this too, because I have a funny feeling this is one of those films that people maybe haven't returned to in a long time.
I agree.
And I think that it is instructive to see this story play out, this a little bit of a celebration of hip hop, as it were, because it's not about the rapping, it's all about the DJing. I mean, this is one of the rare full-on displays of DJ scratching that you will find in a movie.
True.
There's a good solid like 10 minutes of it in this. So there's that. You've got early Samuel Jackson, early Queen Latifah, in all her Latifah-ness, hats and all.
Yelling at Flex. How about that? A Flex sighting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's that too. Yeah. And then not for nothing, everybody kneels down at the altar of Tupac, but Omar Epps does a very good showing of himself in this film as well. So yeah, I would definitely heartily recommend that people return to Juice and check it out if you haven't watched it in a while.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we tell you what we're going to be watching next week here on the Micheaux Mission, I invite you all, each and every one of you, to like and follow us on all the social medias, if you could, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube at Micheaux Mission. Email us all of your thoughts and concerns to micheauxmission@gmail.com, where we can read your emails right here on the show. And go to our website, micheauxmission.com, where you can hit swag to check out the cool designs and gifts available via TeePublic, including next week.
For a limited time.
For a very limited time, we debut our new 6 Degrees of Dervell Martin material there for your buying pleasure. The Micheaux Mission is a proud member of the Podglomerate Podcast Network, thepodglomerate.com. They make podcast work. And what else do we have here? We have to pipe up on. I think that is about it. So,
all right.
Next week on the Micheaux Mission,
it's your turn.
It's my turn, Vincent. It's my turn. And next week we are going to be going back in time a little bit.
Okay.
Not too far back though. I wouldn't do that to you.
Okay.
We're only going back 6 years.
Oh, okay.
That's it. To 1986.
So 6 years from 1992.
6 years from 1992.
Okay. All right.
My bad.
God, I'd fallen through a time warp or a time tunnel.
No.
Not gonna take debate.
No. I'm not taking a bait.
You wanted to though.
I did, because I heard it and I was like, And don't ask me because I'm not saying it. Next week on the Michaud Mission, ladies and gentlemen, we journey to 1986, where we will review the unofficial biography of one Richard Pryor as we sit down with media critic Bobby Booker.
Hey!
Returning to the Michaud Mission to review JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling.
Very nice.
Here on the Michaud Mission.
Very nice.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Looking forward to sitting down with Bobby. She was going to be here in studio.
Excellent.
So it'll be live. It'll be all three of us.
All right.
Around the bat base, having a good time.
All right.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Until then, he's Vincent. I'm Len. And in parting, we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet again.